This is where you owe the apology, in
Why?
my opinion. Because you were so hard on.
The reason I didn't like is because they were claiming to be Bitcoin. One thing about
We love BitMap.
We love BitMap. BitMap is like a Bitcoin. BitMap is the closest thing to the metaverse that exists.
You sound pretty bearish.
You know what? I looked at it right before we started this episode. And
you didn't even give it the fair shake. Rank number one.
Rank number one. Yeah,
this is rank number one.
This is just like on-chain schizophrenia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very exciting episode of the Helmeting Podcast. My name is Casey Rodarmor. I am joined as always with Aaron Redwing. And today we are going to talk about the L2 Metaprotocol, Bitcoin Renaissance landscape, the huge profligation and tidal wave of protocols on top of L2s, on top of Bitcoin. Aaron, how are you?
I'm good. I mean, just like our previous episode that was way late for the hype bubble, we are also doing another episode that is way late to the hype bubble.
Yeah, we're doing basically the Bitcoin Renaissance episode.
It's like we should have done like a year ago.
Yeah, but I mean, with the benefit of all this hindsight that we've had.
No, it's true. I mean, I think it would have been difficult to try to in earnest assess all of these projects a year ago when
absolutely,
they were more hyped.
Most of them were not out. It seems actually like a lot of them have released pretty recently. BRC 2.0, that was August of this year, last month. SAT 20 was like this year.
The heavy hitters.
The heavy hitters. Yeah. We have a lot to say about all of them. I did a lot of research for this.
Yeah, I forced you to do a lot of research. I did no research.
Yeah, I sat down.
I'm the everyman.
Yeah, I sat down and I looked at lots of these projects. I want to apologize off the bat for misinformation.
There will be
much misinformation. Basically, there's just no way that I could get too deep into the nitty gritty of all of these, right? I mean, they're like, people wanted us to look at. We had a Twitter thread. We were like, what should we look at in terms of like Bitcoin L2s and Metaprotocols? And there were like 40, maybe like 30 different things that people wanted us to look at. And I looked at them, but obviously if I was researching 30 things, I couldn't do it in a lot of depth. I just did it enough to get sort of the flavor of each.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good because then inevitably for each one, you'll have someone angrily responding in the comments with like a long write-up about why you are wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's good for us.
That's great. That's great.
That's good for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gets the community engaged. It gets
it spreads
them
information.
Thinking, spreads information and misinformation.
Yep.
So I think that's fine.
So yeah, apologies in advance for the misinformation. I didn't really go too much in depth. I just wanted to figure out like what they were and like try to figure out what level of completeness they were, and also try to figure out like what, if anything, had been released in terms of code.
Yeah.
When I try to figure out what these things do, the first thing that I'm looking for is I'm looking for some sort of just cogent description of the system to describe like what it is and how it does. What it claims to do. Then I'm trying to find code. Like I'm trying to find code on GitHub and be like, okay, have they released the code? And then also try to find some evidence of some running system, like an Explorer, like trying to find some Explorer that like shows these transactions. Like, is this thing live?
That's my favorite thing to do. If someone DMs me and is like, Aaron, check out this really cool thing, I'll always be like, I want to see the code.
You want to see the code. Yeah.
And then usually that just stops them.
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll respond and then it's, what am I going to do with the code?
Yep.
There's nothing I can do with the code. But if there is code that you can see, that's, I think, at least a good sign.
Certainly. Yeah. Bit. I'm often shocked by how little attention the GitHub of these projects will get. Like you will have some code on GitHub. It's not clear if it's complete, and it's pretty clear that nobody's actually looking at it and running it.
Yeah.
Ord, for example, has 3.9 thousand stars on GitHub. A lot of these projects have like 12 stars on GitHub. It seems like there's not actually much developer or code review activity happening.
I guess for a lot of software products, there's no code.
There's
right?
no code, no.
So it is sort of a cultural thing that people in crypto or Bitcoin or whatever expect some level of open sourcing or being able to see what's going on.
Yep.
But it's not like if you were participating in any other software community, that would be an expectation, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the reason is that these things are all predicated on being secure, decentralized, trustless.
Right.
And if they're asking you to run some code or trust that some code exists or somebody else is running that code, but you have no idea what it does or how it works. That kind of gets to the center of those claims. But
yeah, I mean, but I think it is like the purpose of these projects is to sort of revolutionize things in some way, right?
Yep.
So I think it's sort of, they have to then kind of have this like open source, decentralized, trustless thing, because that was the precedent set by the entire revolution of blockchain technology.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you don't really care if Adobe Acrobat is revolutionizing things in some sort of decentralized
your PDFs.
Yeah. I don't necessarily need decentralized open source PDF readers.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So I don't know. I wonder if some of that just comes from maybe people coming from software product world elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't occur to them that that's something that people care about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because you have to imagine the code exists somewhere.
Sometimes I'm really not so sure. Sometimes
maybe it doesn't.
It's oftentimes very hard to figure out. You know, you go to some project's page, you read this like 50-page white paper, and then it's totally unclear what exists and what is just a fever dream of the developers. Yeah. And a lot of the projects on,
we got a couple fever dreams in here.
We got a couple fever dreams,
and those happen to be my favorites.
Yeah, these kind of are just in no particular order at all.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what are the categories of things that we're reviewing? Because there's L2s, there's Metaprotocols. I don't really know what that means.
Yeah. So the categories of things, there's Metaprotocols. Ordinals, inscriptions, and runes are Metaprotocols. Roughly what you would say a metaprotocol is that it is a protocol that is, we're talking about everything out here is like on Bitcoin or Bitcoin related somehow. A Bitcoin metaprotocol is a protocol where the protocol messages are in Bitcoin transactions. So they could be in witness data or op returns. It's kind of immaterial, but you have a metaprotocol indexer that gets blocks as they're produced by Bitcoin and looks in each transaction and sees if there is a metaprotocol message in that transaction. And then it updates the state of the metaprotocol based on the data in the metaprotocol messages, which are in Bitcoin transactions. The key distinction is that all the data for the metaprotocol is in Bitcoin transactions, and anybody could run a node and read the messages in Bitcoin and process the metaprotocol rules, and everybody can come up with the same state that they agree to. Like the key is that the data is in the Bitcoin blockchain; it is in the transactions. This is as opposed to an L2, such as I don't even know what a good example of an L2. There are L2s
Lightning?
on here. Yeah, Lightning is an L2 where there's some off-chain state. So in the case of Lightning, you have these channel opens and closes, which are on-chain. But during the lifetime of a channel, you've got a lot of state which is just held between the channel counterparties, which is the pending state of the channel, like the current balance of the channel. That data is off-chain. There are various L2s have various ways of like committing the data back to the chain, but the fact that it's not all contained within the Bitcoin blockchain, that is what makes it an L2. That there's this additional data that there's usually there are transactions that are happening, that a transaction can happen on an L2, and it doesn't mean that there necessarily immediately needs to be a transaction back to the Bitcoin L1. You sort of can have some transactions on the L2 that eventually get batched or combined in some way to go back to the L1.
So does Lightning interact with Bitcoin in a similar way where Bitcoin is I think I'm using this term correctly, data availability layer, where it's like putting some sort of state relative to the Lightning network on Bitcoin, and then it's kind of, that's the relationship? I don't know if that makes sense. The reason why I'm asking
I wouldn't use the term data availability because I don't think that applies in the case of Lightning. Lightning doesn't have data availability stuff. That kind of means something specific. That means like when you have these L2 transactions that you can get them. You can that they will be available to process at some point.
Okay, so it's a more specific term.
Yeah, it's kind of a more specific term. Yeah, that doesn't exactly apply.
The reason why I was sort of framing the question that way, or what I'm trying to understand, is when, the op-return wars is about arbitrary data that's unrelated to Bitcoin itself in Bitcoin transactions.
Right. Yep.
Would you say that's a distinction between an L2 and a meta protocol? Because at least from my perspective, the meta protocols seem more concerned with tokens, right? That are unrelated to Bitcoin. They just happen to be sort of floating around, and their data is then stored on Bitcoin.
Yeah, L2s can be either. L2s will usually have some data that is stored on Bitcoin, that you'll have a bunch of transactions on the L2, and then some sort of summary or compression of that data will get back to Bitcoin.
Right, and that's like a ZK rollup?
It could be a ZK rollup. It could be an optimistic rollup.
Like as an example.
Yeah, as an example, yeah. But they can be about anything. Metaprotocols and L2s, they can be full Ethereum virtual machine compatible smart contract platforms. They can have tokens. Metaprotocols never are Bitcoin scaling solutions because they don't scale Bitcoin, because all the data in the metaprotocol is in the Bitcoin network. Like you can't. Okay. But an L2 may be about scaling Bitcoin, the asset itself. So sometimes an L2 is about scaling Bitcoin. Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's really about allowing like some Ethereum EVM, compatible thing.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, why not do the first one? And really, this is in no particular order.
Yeah, there's no order here, but I'll do timestamps for each one so you can find your favorite.
Yep. So BRC 2.0 by Best in Slot. Shout out to Benari. BRC 2.0 is BRC 20 extended in extended in really a pretty straightforward way with Ethereum smart contracts. So first, we start with inscriptions. Inscriptions are the Bitcoin NFT protocol that me and co-conspirators like Raf made. BRC 20 adds a token protocol on top of inscriptions by putting these token mint and transfer instructions inside of JSON in inscriptions.
It's like a post-it note.
It's like a post-it note.
It's a post-it note. You make an inscription and it says, I claim this much of this token.
That's right.
And everyone's like, okay. And then someone's like, I claim this amount.
Yep.
And then someone's like, well, I claim this amount. And they're like, well, but it's already over. You can't claim any more of that.
That's right.
And then it's like, well, I'm going to send over here.
Yeah.
And it's just post-it note, post-it note, post-it note, post-it
exactly.
note, right?
Yep.
And then the post-it notes are never recycled. They just sort of scattered into the ocean. They drown the turtles.
They drown the turtles, yeah.
Right. Okay. That's the basic idea of BRC 20 pre-upgrade.
That's right. Yep. So BRC 2.0 is now, in addition to just inscribing like token mints and stuff, you can also inscribe Ethereum smart contracts in a inscription. They literally put Ethereum smart contracts in inscriptions in the JSON. They're JSON blobs.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? What does it mean?
Like, what is an Ethereum smart contract? What does it do?
An Ethereum smart contract is basically just like a computer program.
Okay.
It's a computer program, except instead of running on your singular computer, it runs on all the computers that are processing the BRC 20 2.0 contracts.
Can you give me an example of how that plays out for a token?
Well, yeah. So you might write a Ethereum style like swap contract where some like automatic market maker like pooled AMM, and that program, that like computer program that implements that AMM, you compile it down to EVM bytecode, which is like just the bytes, and then you put it into an inscription. And then people can sort of invoke that program. They can run it with their arguments and say like, oh, I want to swap token A to token B. And the BRC 2.0 virtual machine will like execute that bytecode. We'll run that program and be like, okay, this person swapped this number of tokens for this number of tokens. And like everybody will be able to agree on the outcome of running that program.
Do they have to then put a new post-it note up with the outcome?
You don't have to put a post-it note with the outcome. No.
Okay.
You put a
so
post-it
you just
note.
reference the previous post-it note.
Yeah, but you put a post-it note when you're like calling it. Like let's say you want to call it with like some data. You have to make a new inscription that will call the BRC 2.0 contract.
Okay.
Yep. So
how'd that make you feel?
I think it's kind of funny. Like it's like
I'm kind of here for it.
It's like layer on top of layer on top of layer. It's like the most inefficient thing like imaginable. I mean, it's like Ethereum binary bytecode serialized to hex and then put into JSON inscriptions. Like it's pretty wild. It's kind of straightforward. BRC 2.0 is, I would say, like kind of straightforward. It's like, okay, well, if you have inscriptions, you can then put, EVM smart contracts in the inscriptions, and you can have some rules for calling them.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, BRC 20, it's just like Ethereum on Bitcoin via inscriptions.
Yeah. I mean, I think the challenging aspect, at least from my understanding, was that it's because there wasn't necessarily like a canonical indexer, and it was very just sort of what post-it note do you believe at what time, that just getting everything to agree with each other was the hard part.
Well,
That's
I think
kind of what it seemed like.
I don't think that's hard. I think it's just like Best in Slot has their indexer, and that's like the canonical indexer, right? Their code, whatever they publish.
But I think that just the process, at least my understanding, was like the process of even getting there was kind of the difficult part.
I also don't know, like, well, so what do the old BRC20 indexers see? Like they're not executing the ERC20, the EVM compatible smart contracts on BRC 2.0. So is it just two separate systems that like exist in parallel to each other? That's my...
I have to imagine Uniswap's on board, because I think the previous indexer was Uniswap.
Yeah.
And then Best in Slot built one that is open source, I think.
Yeah, I think Best in Slot stuff is...
So that was kind of the challenge, was like getting to there, because I don't know. I love you, Benari. This is I don't know if he's gonna watch. He'll watch this probably. That's why I'm mincing my words, because I like Benari. But I assume Best in Slot basically had to kind of like just guess check with Uniswap. Like I doubt Uniswap was that cooperative. Who
knows? I mean, Uniswap.
I don't think Uniswap just handed over the indexer to open source, because I think they enjoyed their walled gardens.
Yeah, totally.
You know. So I think it was just Best in Slot sort of being like, okay, is this how the indexer works? And then like being like, does that match up with what Unisat says?
Yeah.
And so it was just sort of this like brute forcing to try to get there. And then, it seems like they achieved the goal, which was to have an open source indexer.
Yep.
And then on top of that, they now have the post-it notes that let you do smart contracts.
That's right.
What are smart contracts useful for?
I mean,
AMMs.
Yeah, AMMs are basically, they let you do trading on chain. They let everybody pool their tokens into like this big pile. And then anybody can show up and be like, oh, I want to trade some of my tokens for these tokens that are in the pile.
Right.
That's basically what it does. So that your counterparty is on chain, instead of being an individual that you have to coordinate with. There's just this big pile of tokens on chain that people can swap with.
Why don't you do that for runes for some philosophical reason?
It's just like a mess. And like, I don't want to complicate the protocol. I also am a little bit worried about what's it called?
Meevil.
Meevil. Yeah, Meevil. Yeah. Where you could, like by sandwiching transactions. Basically, miners are the ultimate say of what transactions get into the blockchain and in what order. And so if I wrote an AMM, I'm like not if an AMM became very popular and there was a lot of money involved, miners would then be incentivized to start paying attention to that AMM, that on-chain AMM, and reordering transactions such that they can make extra profit. Like, oh, you want to buy 1 million uncommon goods? I'm going to buy a bunch of uncommon goods before you get there so I can then sell you the uncommon goods. So then you're buying it from me. And this would make mining less competitive, because sophisticated miners who had put a lot of money into this would be, their revenue would be higher than miners who just plugged in the toaster. And you want miners to just be able to plug in the toaster and be competitive.
Don't you feel like this is a losing battle?
Kind of no, actually, in a weird way.
I mean, I feel like I say that also feeling no, because the miners don't seem to do anything in general.
The other thing about it being a losing battle is I actually think that it matters a lot that the dev of some of the most popular protocols, just don't add this smart contract functionality or AMM functionality. I actually think it is an impediment to somebody else doing it. So it does kind of matter. Like,
I feel like that's kind of the Luke Jr. spam argument in a way.
how so?
It's like, just don't do it.
I'm not, but I'm not putting pressure on anybody else to not do it. I'm not doing it.
Sure.
I'm controlling my own. I choose not to write AMMs. All you people out there, you can try to write AMMs. Nobody will fucking use them because you're all fucking incompetent. And like, it's
well,
like
BRC 20 2.0
also
they did
ran.
They did
it.
it.
They did it. Yeah. So yeah, I actually think it is not quite a losing battle. Like, I think it's significant that inscriptions are by far and away the most popular NFT protocol on Bitcoin, and there's not a whiff of smart contract functionality or MEV or whatever extractable at all.
Sure.
Yep.
And with tokens, it just feels a little more like, what else do you do?
Yeah, just hold them. You know, just
kind of
hodl.
Just kind of see what happens.
Hodl your uncommon goods.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, BRC 20 2.0. We have a kind of positive review, it would sound.
Yeah, it does what it says on the tin. It's like, listen, you can put smart contracts into JSON and then put it in inscriptions.
Yes,
like,
you can.
You can do it. Next is what I like to call markdown driven development, which is where you basically have like sort of grifters who they want to create a protocol, but they don't have any actual ability to like write code and like release it. And so you get these like spec driven protocols. BRC 20 was originally like this because Doma just released it as like a markdown document, as like a Git book. And then other people, famously Unisat was the Unisat was the first people to write an indexer. And so they kind of controlled the protocol de facto. The next one is like RSIC and the RSIC Genesis rune or whatever. So basically it's like runes and inscriptions plus like weird ass gamification where you like, if you mint certain kinds of inscriptions, you like get these like RSIC tokens and then you like run the RSICs or whatever and they like mine for you. The website is totally broken. It appears to be vaporware.
I think it's been abandoned.
Yeah, it's been kind of
completely abandoned.
Yeah, fully trusted in all aspects. Like there is no code. You're just trusting like, okay, well, look, somebody wrote a markdown document. Like maybe if I do what the markdown document tells me to do, that it will, I will be richly rewarded.
Yeah, I mean, the people that were really into RSIC, well, I do get like the airdrop aspect was interesting, right? That it did kind of start a whole wave of people doing that.
Yep.
Of airdropping inscriptions.
Yeah,
and people
of pre-runes. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So I think that the most interesting thing that it did was have good design and do the airdrop aspect. Then it seems like it just completely rugged. I guess abandoned. It did also airdrop the token.
Yeah, the RSIC Genesis rune, you can trade it. It was like it
did happen.
It was like the 8th rune mine.
Yeah.
Like
so they did do it.
The first block.
There just nothing ever happened.
No.
Which, of course.
Yep.
But yeah, I do think it's ultimately, when you say markdown driven development, like I would call that marketing sort of.
Yeah.
It's not quite marketing because I guess marketing implies a little bit more active outreach, but it's kind of just putting like a nice looking shell.
Well,
nothing.
The thing that it is the markdown driven development almost always uses other protocols. Like they're like, okay, like if you want to mine RSIC, then like do this kind of inscription and like do these things with your inscription. And then you use an existing inscription tool or like an existing rune tool to like do these like protocols. I guess we can do another example of markdown driven development, which is BitMap.
That's my fave of the whole list.
That's
honestly.
Your fave. BitMap is also markdown driven development. I think people were like, look, just make block number .bitmap inscriptions, and the first person to do that, like the first one that appears on chain is the valid one. That is also kind of markdown driven development. You publish a markdown document and then you tell people what kind of inscriptions to make to use this new meta protocol. Yeah,
I mean, I think the beauty of BitMap is that the idea is so simple that you don't even really need the code.
No.
Like
the code is relevant.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I mean, I also sort of have a soft spot for the BitMap people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like I remember when we were trying to make the front page nicer, I was like, well, like the BitMap transactions, like
they're ugly.
They're just ugly. They just XYZ.bitmap, like seeing that shit on the front page of ordinals.com doesn't like add anything to ordinals.com, like, you know that there's going to be a bitmap transaction every block. Like, seeing it is not interesting. And the bitmap people were like, no, these are the most beautiful transactions you can possibly imagine. Like, how could you censor them? The bitmap thing feels kind of wholesome to me in a way.
I love it, yeah.
Like, it's obviously just like absolute fucking like sped retards, like just having fun on the chain, you know, just pegging out. And then people do make these like weird visualizations where you can have like,
it's kind of like storing like the model of NFTs where you would just have a thing that you own, but the actual image or whatever was off chain and this was just a pointer.
Yeah.
Bitmap sort of has a similar thing where there are websites where people are building out the Bitmap metaverse.
Yeah.
They have no connection to what, well, they do in that I think you have to connect your wallet and have the Bitmap inscription in there in order to build out the metaverse on that Bitmap. So, you know, imagine that you have, for those of you who don't know the wonders of Bitmap, it's basically you make a number.bitmap inscription and that number correlates to a Bitcoin block.
Yep. And the block, for the inscription to be valid, the bitmap inscription to be valid, it must be in the block in or earlier than the block that has that number.
Right.
And the first inscription with that number.bitmap.
Yeah. So my understanding is they've all been claimed at this point.
Yeah.
The new bitmaps that are being created are just with every single block.
Yeah. Every single block seems to have one bitmap transaction.
It's an active community.
And there doesn't seem to be any competition for it. If there's competition for the bitmaps, you would see like multiple ones in a block as people try to get the latest block's bitmap. But you just don't see that. Like there's one per.
Yeah, shout out to whoever's doing the one.
Yeah.
Because it could be a community resource. Like they could be all coming together and say, we're stronger together than we are fighting each other.
I don't think that's what's happened. I think
you
it's
don't know though. You don't know who's doing it.
Antpool just does it. And
so Antpool has all the bitmap.
That's what I've heard. Antpool is having all the
Let us know in the comments. Let us know what's going on.
Like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments.
Well, but it's not, they don't get every block, right?
Yeah.
But the bitmap inscription shows up every block.
Yep.
So someone, and you don't see the repeat. You don't see Antpool doing theirs and then like the bitmap inscription goes in the next block weirdly. I mean, maybe you do actually. I haven't looked that hard. This is a whole derailing thing.
Yeah.
But
one thing about
we
bitmap,
love bitmap.
We love bitmap. Bitmap is like a Bitcoin. Bitmap is the closest thing to the metaverse that exists.
Yeah.
Because like the whole problem with the metaverse is that like the whole idea of a metaverse is some sort of like web like shared space where everything interoperates. But then what does Facebook go out and make? Like Facebook just makes a bunch of like walled garden VR apps, right? Bitmap does have there is this like decentralized land like aspect to Bitmap, which is the Bitmap inscriptions.
The problem is that it's not connected to anything with the metaverse, really.
Isn't there's some 3D Bitmap visualizers?
There
where you
are,
can, like,
but
fly
it's
around
like,
your Bitmap.
But it's like, okay, yeah, you connect your wallet, and if you have a certain bitmap in your wallet, I think then you can update the metaverse pointer. But it's like just only on that website.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So there is this sort of centralizing force, much like Meta.
Yep.
So, but
yep.
God love him.
God bless him.
God love him.
Next one is the TAP protocol.
This one was requested a lot.
Yeah, this one, I kind of don't get why people care about the TAP protocol. It seems like...
Could just be bots.
Yeah, it could just be bots.
Yeah.
It seems like it's basically like a BRC20 clone with some additional utility functions. Like it seems like it has some on-chain trading and like more efficient sends utility functions. It does not appear to have any kind of smart contract functionality except for the ability to delegate authority to a public key, where you basically say like, these tokens, like this public key is allowed to sign transactions that do anything they want with these tokens. And this lets you delegate to, for example, ICP, the internet computer. You can delegate your TAP protocol tokens to the internet computer. The internet computer, like it's like these like fucking threshold signatures. It's all this like complicated bullshit.
When you say the internet computer, do you mean that you can, God, I don't know the words for it, but you don't mean that you delegate it to some entity that then controls your tokens, do you? Or like, I'm imagining it where it's like you bridge it to ICP.
You don't exactly bridge it to ICP. And this is like, listen, I did not spend a lot of time looking at this shit. It's basically like you go, look, these tokens, this other entity can sign transactions that like move those tokens. And then that other entity could be a internet computer, like ICP. And so then the ICP like canister could run some smart contract, some completely arbitrary smart contract, and like move your tokens around.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems mostly like a graveyard. Like it doesn't seem like anybody really uses the tap protocol. Like it seems like just a kind of dead, like a dead internet kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sucks to suck.
Sucks to suck. Next we have SAT20. SAT20 is just like
Did people request this?
Yeah, somebody requested all of these, you know.
That's why I wasn't sure, because I was like, I haven't heard of SAT20 in a long time.
Yeah, SAT20, they have like a 42-page white paper that it's like very unclear that anything exists. It's all in Chinese and English. It's all going to like really sketchy exchanges. This is basically like CCP coin.
Right.
But it's an attempt. So the thing is that this is an attempt to do like some kind of light assets on a Lightning Network inspired network. I just don't think this exists. Like I know the Lightning Network is complicated. I know the real Lightning Network is complicated. It took a long time to get going. I basically just don't believe that SAT20 exists. This is just basically like my level of belief in SAT20 is that it's like a CCP scam.
We should rank these. Why aren't we ranking these?
There's no ranking. There's no ability to rank these. Next is ALKANES.
Mm-hmm.
ALKANES is basically, it's sort of like a runes clone. It was unclear to me. Some of their documentation makes it sound like it's compatible with runes, but then the rest of it makes me think that it's not compatible with runes. They use a custom VM that you can write WebAssembly smart contracts and deploy them in a transaction that can executed in this VM. And the contracts are deployed in witness envelopes, and then you can call them using things that kind of look like runestones and op returns. Basically like BRC20, BRC 2.0, except they're using like a different VM. That's the only difference.
So why did they break off from BRC20? Because the ALKANES guys were really on the BRC20 thing. Oh, but I guess it's just runes instead of BRC20.
Yeah,
it's runes instead of post-it notes.
Runes instead of post-it notes.
So that is an improvement.
I mean, they're all kind of the same level of like runes is a marginal improvement on BRC20. Like,
yeah,
it's better for the UTXO set. As far as the degens go, I don't know why they would really care one way or another. It is what it is. I don't think that there's any like, just from looking at the level of adoption of BRC 2.0 and ALKANES, it doesn't seem like these things there's much demand or much legs. Like it seems like there's like a mini hype cycle and then it just kind of dies out. It doesn't seem like it's like Ethereum that has like sustained demand over time.
Someone told me that there's a lot of devs that really like ALKANES, which does kind of make sense to me because I feel like if runes is a slight improvement on BRC20, but you're not going to do the stuff that maybe the more moon mathy astronaut dev types would be interested in, that they would then do ALKANES.
Yep.
Right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
like that makes sense to me.
It does look
like psychology speaking.
It does look that like development is like marginally nicer. You can write your ALKANES smart contracts in Rust, which is nice, as opposed to Solidity or EVM, which is just a shit show. So yeah, that's ALKANES. It is what it is. Next we have DMT, Digital Matter Theory. I'm
rank number one.
Rank number one. Yeah,
this is number one.
This is just like on-chain schizophrenia. Like,
can you explain? Like, I know you know, maybe on-chain schizophrenia covers it, but like the graphic you were showing me with the 69s highlighted, like what is going on?
You can basically say like, look, I'm going to issue a token and 1 unit of that token is going to exist every time there's a 69 inside of a block hash in a Bitcoin block.
Yeah.
So something like that. It's literally like the DMT Gitbook. It has like these screenshots of the Ordinals Explorer and then like the transaction hashes in a block. And every time there's a 42, it's highlighted.
Are you sure it's not 420?
Yeah, there's 420 and 69. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not 42. I mean, 42 is also a number, but 420 and 69 are the obvious ones.
So it's basically like schizophrenia driven development. Again, it's like, as far as I can tell, it's markdown driven development. As far as I can tell, it's like you have a big markdown doc and like maybe there's code, maybe there's not. So yeah. DMT.
I mean, but I love the idea of like, what's the utility? Well, every time that there's 69,
that's right. Yeah.
There's a new token that's made.
Yeah.
They're probably going to unveil some sort of structure deep within the cryptographic universe through this sort of pattern recognition. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, man.
I think if you tried to visualize these sort of things where you just, these numbers are eternal archetypes, right? And so if you're making an attempt to try to build structure around that, they might find that it's sort of in the shape of like a golden ratio spiral, or they may sort of figure out this multi-dimensional kind of structure. I think they're onto something.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And that's the utility.
I think we really need to get the Kabbalists involved.
That's
you
what
know
I'm
what
saying.
I mean? Like,
that's what this is
get
the place
the
where
hardcore Kabbalists like out of the synagogue or whatever. Get them writing some Rust, you know, deploying some smart contracts. Maybe they'll have like a banger, you know?
That's how I think of all of these, this is like, this one's asking the right questions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like whenever
how
it's like,
little code and thought can we put into this? You know, how little can we just make it based on like pattern matching?
But, you know, when we talk about smart contracts and it's like, okay, well, we need smart contracts so that you can swap one token for another really fast. It's not so appealing to me, right? But when you say, well, we need smart contracts so that we can recognize how many times 69 has been put into the hash of a block header, every single block, that's more interesting.
Right.
That's getting at something it's more applicable to my work.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So just personally, that kind of speaks to me more.
Right.
Good luck to them.
Yeah, good luck to them. Yeah. Next we have the Arch Network. You wanted to talk about the Arch Network.
It's just everywhere.
Why is it everywhere? Like, can you explain?
I think they just spend a lot of money.
Okay, they spend a lot of money. Yeah.
I think they put themselves everywhere.
Yeah, I
just don't really know what they do.
Yeah, nobody does. I mean, I don't know. It's some sort of like Bitcoin L2. It's like very complicated. Is it CITREA? No, it's not CITREA. Yeah, but it's complicated L2 with like questionable utility and like questionable adoption.
You sound pretty bearish.
You know what? I looked at it right before we started this episode. And
you didn't even give it
no,
the
I
fair
looked
shake?
at it. I looked at it for like 5 minutes, and now I literally don't remember anything that I read. I was like, okay, seems complicated and like.
What would you compare?
Oh yeah, it's EV. It's Solana based. It gives you Solana smart contracts.
Okay, so instead of Ethereum smart contracts, you get Solana
smart
contracts.
Which I actually think maybe that's like cooking with gas. You know, people like Solana.
People do like Solana.
Yeah.
But don't they just like Solana because it's fast?
I mean, hypothetically, this would be fast. You would like every like 10 minutes, it's like Solana and then it bridges back to Bitcoin every 10 minutes. You can like transfer your Bitcoin to the Arch network like Solana. Listen, I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
Well, good luck to them.
Good luck to them. Next, we have ARKADE. So ARKADE is a Bitcoin. It takes Ark, which is a Bitcoin scaling protocol, much like the Lightning Network. It's sort of like this. In the Lightning Network, you have channels, and then you can send money back and forth across this channel. In Ark, you have UTXOs that are shared. You have a bunch of people in the UTXO, like you, me, and like 100 other people are in this one UTXO. And then we can like send money back and forth to anybody in this UTXO. And then the like person who runs this Ark can then have an update and like update everybody's balances into a new UTXO. And there's ways that we can like withdraw from our shared UTXO on chain or have a transaction off chain that like updates the state of this UTXO. And then ARKADE adds assets on top of Ark.
By assets, you mean tokens?
Tokens. Yeah, tokens. I'm giving this very strong NGMI vibes. Possibly my worst NGMI vibes of anything.
Wow.
Maybe. Because I'm like, I don't think Lightning has like questionable product market fit right now. Like this like very rigorous, very complicated Bitcoin scaling protocol. And Lightning has a lot of adoption, a lot of users, but like a limited amount of use. Like doesn't seem like it's a huge, it's not getting huge adoption. People aren't like clamoring for Bitcoin payments. I think
people are not paying in Bitcoin. I mean, I like Lightning whenever we go out to eat or a group of us go out to eat and one person picks up the tab and I give my split share to them.
That's the most cyberpunk we've ever been. Is like going out to eat and then we pay each other with like Wallet of Satoshi and like Phoenix on our
I've done
phones.
a little bit more cyberpunk because I do my home poker games and then people pay in Lightning. That's
nice.
a little bit, because that's like home gambling or whatever. So that's basically the extent to which I use Lightning.
Yep.
And I'm happy with that. I'm glad that I have that instead of, I would still probably just send a Bitcoin payment personally, because I'm a Bitcoin person.
Yeah.
But obviously it's faster, nicer. It's a better experience to use Phoenix or whatever.
The main thing that's nicer about Lightning is you make the transaction and you don't have to think about it.
Right. You don't have to
The
check
Bitcoin
back.
transaction, you literally have to be like, well, I need to check in like a day if I actually received this.
Right.
And then I need to bother the person to like bump the fee if it like didn't go through.
Yeah, there's a babysitting vibe to a main chain Bitcoin transaction where Lightning feels very, I mean, I think honestly, the user feel does matter.
Yep.
And it feels much more like something like Solana.
Yep.
Not that anyone's paying their friends back in Solana.
No.
But you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just that sort of similar kind of feeling. So I do like that about the Lightning Network. It is, though, when I think about it beyond that kind of, oh, well, I'm going to pay you back in Bitcoin because you're my friend who's also into Bitcoin. And so we like doing this kind of thing. It's hard for me to, I don't know, conceptualize the, we'd be living in a very different world if there was like strong demand for Lightning.
Sure.
I hope we get there.
I think
but we're not there.
Yeah, we're not there yet. I think we get there slowly with a combination of higher on-chain fees where you really do want to avoid paying fees for your transaction, because it's like, I think you probably need fees to be like $5 to $10 per transaction consistently.
Yeah.
Something in that range. And then you do want like demand for Bitcoin payments, which I think does come slowly. I think as Bitcoin, the savings and investment asset, matures, I do think that there will be co-committant demand for the ability to make payments in Bitcoin. I just think it's very slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then if you take something like ARK and you're like, hey, Casey, like, are you interested in something that's like kind of like the Lightning Network? And then I'm like, well, is it like less complicated? And you're like, no, it's equally complicated. And then I'm like, well, does it have like clearly better trade-offs? And it's like, no, it has just a different set of trade-offs that are like equally bad. I'm like, yeah, NGMI, like Lightning was first. Like it's got to be like way better.
That's a better name.
Maybe. Yeah.
No, Lightning is better.
Lightning is a better
Lightning
name.
is better because it's like,
yeah,
it's fast.
And then if you're like, well, what if we put a bunch of like random tokens? What if we made up new tokens and we did it on this complicated thing? I'd be like, it doesn't really like.
It makes it even worse.
Makes it even worse. Yeah. So ARKADE, I'm sorry guys, but very NGMI vibes for me.
Yeah, I mean that's not the most NGMI of the list so far for me, because I think RSIC and
RSIC is not NGMI because NGMI is a future prediction. RSIC has already not.
Yeah, RSIC's already dead. TAP is already dead.
TAP is like whatever, man.
SAT20, if they've got the Chinese there, they always have a chance.
Yeah, it always has a chance. Yeah.
And then the rest are sort of doing their thing.
Yeah.
ARKADE, I guess, is more like future looking.
Yes.
And the future is not looking
bright. Bleak. It's not good.
All right. Well, sorry guys.
Yep. Then you've got BitVM and then like BitVM 2. This is a way of doing an optimistic rollup on Bitcoin with on-chain challenges. Basically, the idea is that instead of doing a computation on Bitcoin, you commit to the outcome of doing that computation and you let somebody else challenge you. You can sort of like say like, how do I say this? You have some computation. The computation took like 1 billion steps. You can't execute the computation on Bitcoin, but somebody else can challenge you that you did the computation correctly. Off-chain, they do the 1 billion steps of the computation, and then they go, hey, this 250,000th step was like wrong. And then there's this on-chain challenge process where you drill down to just that step, and the person who did the computation has to then reveal the place that they did it wrong, and then you get to take all their money. So it's an optimistic rollup, basically.
Kind of dramatic.
Yeah, it is kind of dramatic. I don't like optimistic rollups very much because the security model is just very unappealing to me, that like I'm going to put my money into this system and then it's not like I actually have a guarantee that the system will operate correctly. It's that if it operates incorrectly, somebody can steal all the money.
Right. That's what I mean.
That.
It's dramatic. It almost is like, it's like I imagine that I entrust my money to some sort of chivalrous knight, you know, who seems like he's the greatest dueler in the land. He's very strong. And I'm like, well, my money is safer with him than with me because he's a knight and
Mhm.
he's trained to fight.
Yep.
But then there's another knight that can challenge him.
Right.
And then that knight can then take all of my money.
Right.
And it's like, well, maybe I should have just kept my money in my hut
Right.
this whole time because this knight is out here
That's right.
ready to be challenged at any time.
Yeah. That's generally, I think, a fair assessment of the peasant-oriented sort of vibes.
I view all Bitcoin scaling through this like weird peasant model.
I think that's not inaccurate, you know? So yeah, also I kind of get the feeling that BitVM is like far away. I would say that BitVM, and God, I don't know, man. Like, call me out in the comments for being wrong, but it doesn't seem like you can use it right now. And it's interesting, like the more rigorous projects, they have a disadvantage because they take longer to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I would say ARKADE, BitVM are just much more rigorous, for example, and doing something much harder than BRC 2.0.
Right.
But BRC 2.0 is like out. It's like kind of not vaporware. You can make your shitty contracts. You can like put them on chain. BitVM is like, man, who knows, you know, how long it's going to take. And it's much more complicated and like, you know, who knows, you know,
well, that's
when
why
it's going to be
I'm
ready.
glad that we recorded this episode now, even though we're late to the hype cycle, because BRC 22.0 just came out.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And I would have been a lot more negative on it before it came out. Now that it's out, it's as you said, it's like, well, it did do something.
Yep.
As opposed to, I don't know, I guess BitVM was quite a while back now.
It was.
Though.
Yep.
I kind of remember, I think I was in Amsterdam in 2023
Yeah.
when that white paper dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. No one has any obligation to do anything, but
Yep.
it's, yeah, nothing. I just remember when it came out, everyone was very like, this changes everything. And
Yeah,
I don't think it's changed anything.
Yeah, I think BitVM,
at least so far.
I think it's a very interesting sort of encapsulation of the disconnect between the hype of a new idea and the difficulty of putting all the pieces together. So BitVM is a breakthrough. It is a very clever way of enabling an optimistic rollup on Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of primitives for you to use. So building these kind of thing is very, very hard. The problem is that the idea is way, way, way far away from an instantiation of an idea, right? And the idea, you know, for these things, there's going to be a lot of trade-offs. It's like, well, what does the actual user experience look like? Like, how complicated are the wallets? What are the actual like scaling limitations, you know? Kind of similar to Lightning, right? Where Lightning is a great idea and a great idea on paper, but it comes with all these limitations that had to be discovered over time as the protocol was developed, right? One thing I think that one way that people were over optimistic about Lightning is I think they were over optimistic about the complexity of implementation. Lightning implementations turn out to be very, very complex. All these different things you want them to do. Different like, oh, look, there's this like complicated attack and now we have to guard against this complicated attack. Those kinds of things. Things like having inbound liquidity things. That's not like needing inbound liquidity to receive a payment. If you read the Lightning Network paper, some people realized that, but a lot of people got excited about the Lightning Network paper without thinking about that aspect of it. Like, oh, what do you mean I can't receive funds because I don't have enough like incoming space in my wallet? Like, that's crazy talk. BitVM and BitVM 2 are kind of like that in that it is a very clever idea. It's very smart, but that still means there's a huge amount of implementation and development away from it actually being a reality.
Godspeed.
Yep. Best of luck to them. Then we have MIDL, MIDL. I just wrote vaporware proof of stake network on Bitcoin. That's all I have for MIDL. I don't remember anything else about it.
MIDL.
Yeah, exactly. Next we have CITREA. CITREA is an Ethereum style ZK rollup on Bitcoin. It's like with some like delegated proof of stake system and you do Ethereum ZK rollups on Bitcoin. Hasn't reached mainnet.
So we don't know.
Yeah. And I'm like just not, I kind of don't think that, I don't know if there's demand for this shit, you know, like
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know if like having you have wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum, you have wrapped Bitcoin on Solana. I think the security of wrapped Bitcoin is like atrocious. The security model is like atrocious. You're just trusting some people to like not spend your Bitcoin. But like the security model of some shitty ass Ethereum style proof of stake ZK rollup on Bitcoin is also going to be fucking atrocious. It's like billions of lines of unreviewed code. Like, so I don't actually know if there is demand for any of this thing. I think it's like inscriptions caught lightning in a bottle with like a very good like product market fit, like, you know, fucking NFTs on Bitcoin and all the fucking data is on Bitcoin. It's all the data is fucking scarce, and you got this like fucking gonzo like sat tracking thing.
But you can understand it. It's not that hard to understand.
Sure, right.
Right. But that's, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
But it's like, that is, I think, the big difference between inscriptions and a lot of these things is a lot of the people who are interested in these things could not explain them or what outcome they have that they desire.
Yeah.
They just think blockchain technology is amazing.
Technology, DeFi.
I'm an investor in blockchain technology.
yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, whereas it's like, you can kind of just get what an inscription is pretty simply.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the beauty of it. And it's like, you know what you're getting, you know what you're buying or not buying. But with this, it's like the vaporware and the marketing of it is basically all of it. Like, I don't think anyone is interested in these things because they want to use them. I think they're interested in them because they want to be first to them and somehow profit off of that.
Very much so. And I think that like, and so like inscriptions had like extreme product market fit. BRC20s also obviously had extreme product market fit. Like there was like a huge like hype cycle, but like we're not seeing that as people roll out these like EVM or like smart contract like L2s. Like we're not seeing them catch fire in the way that inscriptions, BRC20, and to some degree like runes, although runes was obviously like completely the same as BRC20 in terms of what was interesting about it. Like we're not seeing the BRC20 moment for these like L2 like roll up smart contracts, whatever.
I think they do have dev market fit is not the right way of saying it, but
maybe
there's a lot of crypto developers who want to work in crypto. They want to tinker away on a crypto project because that's what they're interested in. And so the thought of having a little project to tinker on is very exciting to them.
Yeah, maybe they have
and there's VCs that are like, I want a crypto product to invest in. And so there's this fit, I think, between builders and investors that is real.
Right.
But there's no user.
There's no users. Yeah, I think that's
the users are just people that are chasing alpha in the same way that the VCs are.
Yep.
Yeah. It's no Uber. You know what I mean?
Yep. Next we have two like very real projects that I have good feelings about, and these are CASHU and FEDIMINT. So CASHU and FEDIMINT, they're both different takes of a Chaumian eCash mint on top of Bitcoin.
What is a Chaumian mint?
So David Chaum is a cryptographer. He created something called the Chaumian mint, which is basically a bank. It's a centralized entity that users can have accounts at that bank, and they can make deposits, they can make withdrawals, they can make payments, but the bank is oblivious to any of their activity. It has no idea who they are, and it has no idea what their balances are.
So there's just an anonymity aspect, basically.
Anonymity aspect, exactly, yeah.
You don't have to KYC with the bank.
The bank, when you do a transaction, it doesn't know which of its customers is making the transaction. So yeah, no KYC. Bank just has no idea who anybody is. CASHU and FEDIMINT are both different takes on this idea. I'll start with CASHU because it's the simpler one. CASHU is basically like anybody can run a Chaumian mint on top of Bitcoin, but that mint is fully trusted. So you could run the Chaumian mint, you would take people's like Bitcoin deposits, but they could make these anonymous transactions and also make Lightning Network payments out of the mint. So they don't just pay people within the mint, they can pay people like outside on the internet using Lightning Network. But you, Aaron, can just rug everybody's Bitcoin at all times.
So what's the benefit?
Privacy for the users. Basically, like imagine like if River didn't know anything about River's clients. River could still rug everybody, just like River could today, but you would get this anonymity. All the users of River from River's point of view and from outside of River's point of view, they would get private
So
Bitcoin.
CASHU and FEDIMINT aren't scaling Bitcoin. They're not about scaling Bitcoin for the purposes of having more transactions with
They
lower
actually
fees.
do also scale Bitcoin transactions, because once you're in the mint, you can make transactions within the mint and Lightning Network transactions out of the mint. And those both don't require L1 Bitcoin transactions.
Okay, so
they
it's
do
scaling
also
and privacy.
Scaling and privacy.
Good for them.
Good for them, yeah. CASHU is like single point of failure. It's much simpler. Like the benefit is that it's much, much simpler. And anybody can just run a CASHU mint. I can run a CASHU mint, you can run a CASHU mint, but anyone who runs a mint can rug. FEDIMINT is more complicated in that mints are run by a federation of users, and all of the federation members or some threshold of the federation members have to rug in order for the users to get rug. So like you, me, and Raf could run a FEDIMINT instance, and all three of us would have to rug for the users to get rugged. As long as one of us continued to be honest, then the users wouldn't get rugged.
That's nice.
It's very nice. It's kind of in some sense better than CASHU. The disadvantage is that it's way more complicated.
Sure.
Like the complexity of running these like federated mints is super, super complicated.
I do kind of feel like with all of these things, with scaling Bitcoin, you basically are just trading off some aspect of what makes Bitcoin great.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think as long as that's honestly communicated to you and you understand the trade-offs of that, that seems fine. If it's a multi-sig, it's a multi-sig. And I'm not saying that about CASHU or FEDIMINT, but it's like, if that's what it is and that's what they tell you it is, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, why do I talk about CASHU and FEDIMINT as being particularly good? They have strong devs who are upfront about like what the protocol does. All of the development is open source and shared and public. And all of the code is online, you know, and they're very clear about the trade-offs that they're making. A lot of the time, projects that I don't like, it's because you can't find the code anywhere. It's very unclear what it actually is. It's some weird white paper, which is like divorced from reality. CASHU and FEDIMINT are like what it does, like on the tin. Next.
Just like BRC20.
Just like BRC20, yeah. So next is GLOCK.
I hadn't even heard of GLOCK.
Yeah, GLOCK.
I'd heard of every other one, I think.
Yeah, GLOCK is very new. GLOCK is like the cryptography preprint stage, where it's basically like BitVM, but you don't have to challenge the computation. It's like if somebody does the computation wrong, they leak a signature and somebody can steal all the money. So it sort of has a smaller, it's sort of BitVM, similar to BitVM, but smaller on-chain footprint. But it is completely in the most early stages. Like nobody is saying go use.
Who's doing GLOCK?
Like real cryptographers. This guy named Liam is a
Not your
Glocker.
Liam.
Not my Liam, but a Liam.
Liam.
A Liam is doing GLOCK. Serious cryptographers are doing GLOCK. But it's in the very early stages. It's just out. So
Did they name it after like the gun?
I mean, obviously it's named after the gun, but like it's like some like garbled locks.
Ah, okay.
They're called garbled locks.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Yep. Next we have ODIN.FUN. ODIN.FUN is just like a centralized platform where you can shitcoin and then sometimes it gets rugged. So yeah, ODIN.FUN is not great. It's just a website, guys.
It's just a website.
It's a website, yeah. And then like somehow some of the rugs can get promoted from off-chain rugs to on-chain rugs through some process.
Well, it's like you deposit into Odin, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you would have some amount of Bitcoin or tokens or whatever.
Yep.
You deposit into Odin.
And then you like
do stuff
degen
on the website.
Odin. And then when there's enough degen, it turns into a real rune. But it's all trusted up until that point.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's like a runes incubator.
Because I thought Counterparty was doing that too, right? I mean, it's totally different, but like, isn't Counterparty doing something like that where you launch a token, but then if it doesn't get enough mints, then it doesn't happen or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like Dan was telling us
on-chain.
about
that's
this.
on-chain on Counterparty, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is off-chain, so it's all fast.
Is it on ICP?
No. It's just Bob Bodley's computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not an internet computer.
That's not an internet computer. No, just normal one.
Okay. Well... And then sometimes he gets hacked.
And sometimes he gets hacked. Yeah, that's the real problem.
I think, the main thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to do it.
You know, whatever. Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
I mean, I think he told me that after they got hacked the last time, that they did 300 Bitcoin in volume the next, like, 2 days after. Like, the community rallied.
They rallied. They
were like, we got to get back on here.
We got to get back on Bob Bodley's computer.
I mean, I think
we got
they're
to body
having fun.
Bob Bodley's
I
computer.
think they're having fun in there.
Fun. That's why it's
they're
called
allowed
.fun.
to do that.
Yeah.
Odin.FUN.
Yeah.
You know? So it's all Chinese, I think.
It's all Odin.FUN is all Chinese.
I mean, not like the developers, but I think the people that are using it, it's primarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's big with the Chinese.
Yep.
So
also big with the Chinese is our next contestant, which is fractal Bitcoin.
Hell yeah.
I love fractal Bitcoin. Fractal Bitcoin is very simple. So the idea
they're
behind,
gonna clip just that. They're gonna go, I love fractal Bitcoin. Fractal Bitcoin is so simple. And they're gonna clip it, be like, see?
Yeah, the idea of fractal Bitcoin is like, what if we just like reran the whole Bitcoin playbook over? Like, what if we just forked Bitcoin and then made like a mempool.space instance, and then also just did like inscriptions, BRC20s, and runes over again on fractal.bitcoin?
Do they unlock when those things unlocked based on block height?
No, I don't think it's based on block height, because
Okay.
we wouldn't have gotten to runes yet, because like they're still at block like 1 million or something.
No, they're further than us. We're only at block like 800 something.
Are they really at block 8 million?
They're in the future.
No.
No. But we're not at block 8 million. We're at block 800
Oh, yeah.
something or 900,000. They are further than us. Fractal Bitcoin has surpassed us.
Are you sure about this?
I'm pretty sure.
You can pass me my phone.
We haven't hit block 1 million, like in real Bitcoin.
I just forget if fractal Bitcoin is at block 1 million or at block
No, it's
100,000.
No. It's at block 1 million. The blocks come every 30 seconds. Like
Yeah.
it's surpassed us. It's fractal Bitcoin is living in the future.
Okay, loading fractal Bitcoin, mempool.fractalbitcoin.io. Yeah, block 1 million. Yep.
Yeah, we won't be on fractal Bitcoin's level for at least a couple other months. And by that point, fractal Bitcoin will be even further in the future than that.
Right.
I thought it was something where it was like at the block heights that it unlocked on Bitcoin, it unlocked on fractal. I could be wrong. I just remembered something about that where it was like, they were like, yeah, and like it's going to happen in like February.
I
like,
thought they were
whatever.
just scheduling it in the future, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, they're speed running. They're just rerunning
And now
the
they're
whole
like,
playbook.
wait, shit, the nodes are so big. What
Are
do we
they?
do?
Is that a problem? You've heard
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, hell yeah.
Well,
yeah,
duh.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the whole thing.
Did they change the block size? Do they have a 4 meg block every?
It's a 4 meg block every 30 seconds.
Let me take a look at.
So it's Bitcoin, but just fast.
Yeah, they just sped it up. Why don't the Bitcoin developers do that? You know?
That's the question.
Yeah, they have up to 4 meg blocks. So yeah, good luck, guys.
Yeah, they like, we're like, all right, let's run fractal
It's only
Bitcoin.
been like a year.
Well, that's the problem.
They're gonna have like 1 million blocks a year.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, so it's 365 days times 24 hours times 60 minutes times 60 seconds divided by 30 seconds. Yeah, that's about 1 million blocks a year. Okay.
Yeah, they've been going for about a year, right?
Good luck, guys. Yeah, the interesting thing, this gets a lot of volume. Like there is activity on the Fractal Bitcoin Block Explorer. It's fucking retarded, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's cool. I mean, it's like, it's what I like about it is it seems like no one, because they're basically just like, let's do Bitcoin, but blocks
Let's
every
just do
30
it again,
seconds.
yeah.
Like, let's just try it. And, it's,
And they're also like, they're like rerunning the like ordinals BRC20 runes. They're like, oh, we'll just do that again on our own blockchain.
yeah. But it's interesting that it doesn't seem like any of the concerns of that ever were like told to them.
What do you mean?
Like, oh, your node is going to become really big, really fast.
Well, I mean, I think it's fine, honestly. Like 1 million blocks is like, if the chain is, you just need like a 1 terabyte hard drive a year.
Yeah, you need to add 1 terabyte a year.
Yeah. And it's not like it's a decentralized network. Like it's not like Bitcoin where
No, but I mean,
it's like they have the nodes in the data centers. Like no hobbyist is out here running a fractal Bitcoin node.
yeah, I mean, I remember the Ordfluencers really had their heyday with Fractal for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what?
Like positively?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah, they were like, guys, this is the new thing.
Yeah, I remember we were at a fractal Bitcoin event in like Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And like some like kind of nice like sort of marketing person was like, oh, Casey, you're here. Like, what do you think of fractal Bitcoin? And I was like, I feel like I'm at the zoo, like watching the monkeys throw shit. Like this is what it's like.
Yeah, it's it kind of has a similar, it's different, but it has a similar sort of bitmappy feel to me, where
Yeah.
it's just like there's just a level of, I guess, just ignorance is bliss, naivete
Mhm.
almost, where it's just like it's pure.
Yeah, it's very
It's
pure.
pure.
I mean, I think there's something pure about fractal Bitcoin and SAT20
Yeah.
as being these like, bro, like, you know, get with the future, like
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I totally agree. So kind of weirdly positive feelings.
Yeah, weirdly positive feeling.
Yeah.
They're just doing what they're doing.
That's the vibes level.
That's the
assessment.
vibes, yeah. Next is RGB. RGB is like a client-side token protocol and like smart contract system. I think RGB is one of the most complicated, over-engineered things that I've ever seen in the entire world. It's so complicated. There are so many layers, and it's not clear that it's what anybody wants.
I think it's what 0 people want.
Yeah. Like, for example, like, I think one of the big things that makes like runes and BRC20 like popular is you can go on chain and you can see all the transactions. You can see all the mints. You can see all the balances. So everybody can be like, oh, what's the new coin? RGB, it's all client-side validated. It's all private. You can't see fucking anything. I don't think anybody wants that. And it's like, oh my God, this shit is so complicated. It took me a long time to understand RGB. So I think RGB is what happens if you really like writing specs, and then you write a bunch of specs and then you write a bunch of code. And like, I don't think it's going to go anywhere ever. No.
I feel like I think we'll get to your apologies later, but I feel like you sort of owe a reverse apology to RGB in the sense that something that I've noticed about you is I think because you have Bitcoin Maxi brain, where you've just like lived through Bitcoin history long enough, and like that in the same way that like old people, they sorry to say it that way, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like old people have lived through things that make it hard for them to see the world with fresh eyes in a way that would probably be beneficial to their overall view of the world.
Sure.
I feel like Bitcoin maxis that have lived through the block size wars, that have kind of seen like the ICO boom, all this stuff, they have like Bitcoin maxi wisdom that makes it so that they're like weirdly nice to certain things and weirdly hard on other things. And I feel like RGB, when I look at it, it's like, it's not really that different than a lot of these things but we gave RGB like a 3-hour episode on Hell Money.
I just wanted to understand how RGB fucking works.
Yeah, but like you didn't do that for you would never do that for any of these other ones. And like, if anything, you'd be actively antagonistic.
Yeah, I think maybe that happened.
Not so much anymore, but like, that's where I'm saying the apologies coming later, because the real example of this is in a couple of bullet points.
Yeah, I think it's because RGB has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I was like curious about it. You know what I mean? And now that there's so many different things, like I just don't give any of them the time of day.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I think RGB, I had a negative view of it because it was, from my perspective, that was why Giacomo Zucco was so anti-ordinals in the beginning, because he was an investor in RGB.
Yep.
And he was like, wait, but we have to do NFTs on Bitcoin my way. And like just threw a total fit.
Yeah.
And so to me, I was always like, okay, that's just terrible NGMI vibes.
Yep.
You know, not saying that encapsulates. I do love like Gideon and Hunter Beast, which is who we had sort of as the representative RGB people when we had them on the podcast. But just looking back on that, it's crazy to me that we gave that topic the time of day when there's so many other topics that like you would never.
True.
But I feel like that's your Bitcoin maxi disease. You know, where you're like, well, RGB had some really good people behind it. And it's like, you're talking about Giacomo Zucco.
I don't know if I ever said that. I mean,
but I feel like that's like
it was for a long time when I was like I remember like before I released inscriptions that it was that, what are the fucking Lightning Labs assets?
Tapass.
Yeah. Tapass and RGB were like the things that I was like, oh, these are like the potential competitors.
Yes. And look at us now.
Yeah. And look at us now. They just never materialized.
No. Yeah. No, I feel pretty negative about both of those groups. Yeah. More negative than I do about BRC 22.0 kind of won me over. I feel a little bit more positive.
All right.
Yeah, like it just feels like those projects, I just feel like so many Bitcoin projects are given so much grace just for the sake of being Bitcoin projects. They don't have to deliver anything. They don't have to like really ever be used by anyone or even wanted by anyone. But just the fact that they're kind of backed by the right people who were on the right side of the issues in previous battles. Yeah. Everyone's just like, yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
We'll get to, you don't need to apologize for RGB, but I will make you apologize later.
Okay.
All right, next one.
Next is RADFI. RADFI looks like it's like sort of these like, it's basically like swaps that you can do, like swaps, and there's some sort of minting
I'd
service.
never heard of this one.
Yeah, I think I met the RADFI guys once at like a party. I liked them. But yeah, it looks like swaps. Looks like the doc said something about the EVM. That seemed like it wasn't available yet. I don't even know why I put this on this list, given that I have no fucking idea like what to say about it.
Just because you liked them when you met them.
Yeah, but you know, it's a thing. It exists. Go to radfi.co.
Okay.
Next is Spark.
Spark had a big moment because they airdropped a bunch of inscriptions.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Right? Remember the gay one with all the people holding hands? Do you remember? Do you remember we had the subspace and someone was like, "Are you guys seeing this thing that just got airdropped?" And then that made me think that they had just
yeah, right.
They were pumping their bag, but it was actually Spark had airdropped some like
Kumbaya shit.
Some sort of global homo situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that, but I don't know if anything happened.
Yeah, it's just some scaling with state chains. The security model is that you have like a bunch of operators and they work on a multi-sig, and then they've got to delete their key for it to be secure. It's more weird vaporware scaling that like is never going to go anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty nothing.
Stacks is really old. I really dislike Stacks from the beginning because
this is where you owe the apology, in
Why?
my opinion. Because you were so hard on Stacks.
The reason I didn't like Stacks is because they were claiming to be Bitcoin.
What do you mean? I don't even know.
They were saying like Stacks is Bitcoin. They were saying like Stacks is finance for Bitcoin. When in reality it was this just like trust. It's basically like they had a trusted bridge where you could like, it's so fucking complicated. This you could stack stacks by like tying up your Bitcoin or whatever. Yeah, again, I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I clearly didn't do enough research.
You don't even know.
I don't even know.
You don't even know.
Stacks, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like more NGMI DeFi.
I just feel like Stacks like really did it first. Like of all these projects,
Rootstock did it first.
Rootstock did it first. I don't know Rootstock though. I literally only know Rootstock from you bringing Rootstock up.
Rootstock is like, what if we made Ethereum inside of a multi-sig on Bitcoin?
Okay, so Rootstock did it first.
Yep.
But Stacks just like, I mean, I just remember when I got into Bitcoin in like, 2020, 2021, Stacks was really the only sort of, I guess, shitcoiny sort of vibe L2 project. And now we have like 100.
I know. Yeah.
And if anything, Stacks was kind of trying most earnestly, I feel.
Were they?
I think so. I mean, they have a genuine community of builders and they really try like to do, like they did their Nakamoto upgrade. I don't really know what that did.
Yeah. The thing about Stacks is the trust model always just seems insane to me.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
I don't know. It's like this proof of stake shit and like, it's just very complicated.
See, this feels like Bitcoin Maxi disease.
Yeah, it probably is.
Like it's where you're just like, I don't know. At some point I turned against them and I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like,
that's true. That's definitely true.
I'm sure you're right in the sense that all of these are that.
Yeah.
Right? But some of them you're like, yeah, they're kind of just trying to. Right. Whereas Stacks, you're like, no, Stacks.
It just depends
awful.
about when I heard about them and like the context in which I heard about them.
Yeah. But that's where I'm like, I feel like Stacks was like ahead of its time, and that's why it was so hated.
Yeah, right.
But it's kind of crazy, like with the bubble of hype around Bitcoin L2s. It was crazy to me that Stacks didn't really get, but I think it was just too early. Like if Stacks had launched like a year ago or 2 years ago, people would be like all over it. They'd be like, oh my God, Stacks is the future. Stacks is so awesome.
Yep.
But because Stacks was just doing it before, I'm also biased because I like Stacks people.
Yeah.
It's been shocking to me. This is my vibes level assessment, not technical level assessment. It's been shocking to me how many Bitcoin companies or groups that I respect that when I meet the people, I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. This is a bad situation.
But you like the Stacks people.
But the Stacks people are lovely.
Okay.
They're lovely. Like really, they're some of the best people.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the Stacks people that I've met.
And I'm not even, I don't really know devs. I know more like marketing people.
Yeah.
But they're hardworking and they're nice. And like, they're genuine.
Okay.
Like I've been kind of shocked at like the vibes are especially good.
Aaron says the Stacks vibes are good.
But I would never use Stacks. You know what I mean? But I would never use any of these. That's kind of my point. There's no if you're talking about the trust assumptions, the product market fit, it's all over. Like there's no version of the CASHU FEDIMINT stuff. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. But again,
actually same. Those are probably the only ones that CASHU FEDIMINT Lightning Network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really it though. And even CASHU FEDIMINT, they also give me sort of village hut vibes where it's like I have to put myself in some imagined scenario of a hyper Bitcoinization future that sort of looks like a longhouse.
Yeah.
You have
to longhouse yourself.
I have to longhouse my future self in a way that doesn't quite like it's hard for me to really think about myself using it, but I can kind of relate to it. But the rest, it's like, there's no use for any of it. at least stacks, they're nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Okay. Buy stacks.
Anyway, so I'll apologize on Casey's behalf.
Yeah.
Because he was too mean to you. You were too mean to them.
Okay. I was too mean to stacks apparently.
Yep.
Last one for some reason because the sub on the subspace.
Yeah, it's a sub request.
Dot swap Nexus. Look, okay. I spent 2 minutes looking at this. It's a PSBT based swap system, which actually makes it like pretty simple. They're just doing like PSBT swaps. So yeah, whatever. Why not? You know?
Yeah, whatever. Why not?
Yeah, whatever. Why not?
That's like basically this whole list. Yeah,
no,
whatever. Why
we
not?
started out really strong. The first like 5 or like 8, I really had something to say about all of them. But then we got into the also rants, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments.
Where
like,
was
subscribe,
Casey
comment.
to
yeah, what did I
blase?
get wrong? What was I unfair to? Which one is actually gonna, you know, revolutionize finance?
Which one has the best vibe from your perspective? Because for me, it's like BitMap and DMT sort of have the best sort of esoteric vibe. Fractal's funny. Stacks, I like the people. Yeah, that's kind of, those are the standouts for me. But let me know if I'm missing, if I'm not clued into some sort of vibe.
I like the grug brain shit. Like when you ask me like, what do you think of BitMap? I'm like, oh, I hate BitMap. But then when I look at this list in context, I'm like, oh yeah, BitMap and DMT. Like, why the fuck not? Like,
yeah.
Let's do some schizophrenia.
Yeah, which are your what are your favorites?
CASHU and FEDIMINT.
Yeah.
Like I think they're doing something real and interesting and good. BitMap and DMT are funny.
Right.
You know? What else? The rest of them, I'm like, there's no product market fit for any of this shit.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's true. But best of luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Prove
good
us
luck.
wrong.
Yeah.
I love the culture of innovation and builder vibes that have been brought back to Bitcoin. Even though they're nonsense for the most part, I still like them.
You just want people digging ditches and filling them up again. You know, you're a New Deal kind of person.
Men have to do something.
Men, yeah. And what are these men going to do otherwise?
Rob me on the street.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so at least rob me on the internet.
Yeah, Aaron was chased down the street by an angry
that is true.
Arch Network developer who almost threw a bottle at her.
Yeah, that's the state of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's not true. Sorry, Arch Network.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for certain, I guess.
Spiritually.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all we have.
That's it. That's what we got. Thanks for joining us for another elucidating, educational, comprehensive, well-researched, thoughtful, illuminating episode of the How Many Podcast.
Oh, you said elucidating, I
That's
think.
right.
Elucidating and illuminating.
That's right. Yep.
No, I think this is about as much as we could ask of you.
Yeah, thank you.
In terms of reviewing these.
Yeah.
Like really, we couldn't have done more.
Well, I mean, I read more like white papers than I've read in a long time.
Yeah.
Like I think it was the Filecoin white paper that I read back in like 2017 when I was like, this is dog shit. And then I just stopped reading white papers.
Well, I feel like this is similar to like the point we've made several times on this podcast that the best attack against core is just to distract. It's like if you were just to try to read every white paper, like nothing would get done.
Yeah.
So it is sort of just overloading with information. If you have a 42-page white paper, it's over.
Yeah.
That shit should be shorter than the Bitcoin white paper.
That's right. Yep.
What are you doing? You know?
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
See you next time. Bye.